I have to apologize for something in the previous video, that I wasn't with a different shirt. Now you're probably thinking I probably sound ridiculous saying that, but yeah, now you know what I mean. It's Captain America shirt. I have to wear this. I can't believe I have done a great disservice. In fact, I should probably re-record that video. But because I'm lazy as fuck, I'm not going to do it. Anyway, now we're on to the spoiler stuff for Civil War, so if you haven't seen the film, you might want to leave now. Okay, I'm going to give you like a couple seconds. So, former magazine here, so I can wait. Let's see. Currently, there's Dishonored 2. I have no fucking idea what that is. Let's see. Oh, are they gone? Gone? Good. Lad. So anyway, now that the people who don't want spoilers, who haven't seen the movie, all two of you at this point, lucky bastards. You know, a lot of people saw. What I mean by lucky bastards, I mean like, not the. This joke is confused. Anyway, spoilers. Fuck it. Spoilers. Talk about them. So let's actually talk about some of the just some minor scenes that I really enjoyed that I want to talk about. For one thing, Baron Zemo, who isn't called Baron. I forget what his. I don't think he's actually called Baron in the movie. He's just called Zemo. I forget what his real name is, but Zemo is kind of the main-ish villain, and actually, to me, is by far one of the best villains in the universe. We don't get too much screen time from him, in all honesty, but he doesn't get lost in the shuffle. He's still definitely a thing. You see, the Winter Soldier is essentially being set up. He's being set up by a couple of other Winter Soldiers who were given the same treatment as Bucky was. So they were trying to kind of frame him for the murder of T'Challa's father, T'Challa being the Black Panther and all. So, you know, that's why the Black Panther is after Bucky, because he thinks Bucky killed his father. Now, later on we do learn that Zemo actually sent one of his little lackeys to actually deal with him. So, or he just did it himself, whichever one. Regardless of such, though, Zemo was the one who ultimately did it. And what I really like is how, first off, how he was able to so well just tear the Avengers apart once he heard about the whole Registration Act that was going to happen for the Avengers, how they were gonna sign it or not, and that was really well done. The way he was able to manipulate the circumstances and actually, actually divide the Avengers. And he doesn't even have any powers. The only thing he has is an intellect, and that's nothing more. I don't even really think he knows how to fight. Okay. At least not how to fight like superheroes. So, the fact that he was able to so cleverly plan out this whole thing and tear the team apart was very well done. But also because of the reason why he did it. You see, he's not just a villain for villain's sake. The problem with the MCU is the villains, besides like Loki and Ultron, really aren't that great. And I guess the TV villains, you know, also with Wilson Fisk and Kilgrave, if you want to count them. But the movie villains really aren't that great, except for Ultron and Loki. And like, let's be honest here. What villains do you know that are excellent? Jeff Bridges' character started off pretty good, but sort of tanked near the final act. That was a little clumsy. For the first Iron Man, which is Obadiah Stane. Which I actually like Obadiah Stane in Iron Man. I felt he was a pretty decent character, but I will admit, the final act kind of suffered because of the rushed nature of it, because they knew they needed to get some action in there somewhere. Red Skull, I felt, the only reason why I liked Red Skull was because he was played by Hugo Weaving, nothing more. You know, and, I don't even remember the villain from, all I know is that it was Abomination, but I don't remember Abomination at all. Plus, Abomination is not a good movie villain. He's not. He's just some wannabe dumber version of the Hulk. I think that's really all Abomination is. So, nothing really much more to say. And, oh, God. What about Malekith? I'm surprised to remember his name. I think I actually remember his name because I had to look it up with a Wikipedia search a couple of days ago to actually remember what his name was, because, you know, the Dark Elf guy, he was so fucking forgettable. So fucking forgettable. Oh my god. Thor the Dark World had the worst villain. You know? Absolutely horrible. Guy Pearce's villain, I believe. Guy Pearce was the guy playing the villain in Iron Man 3. I don't really remember anything about him besides the whole, I am the Mandarin! Please do not be pissed off at me! Iron Man fans! You know, that whole thing? Yeah, that didn't, no. No, just no. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. The, villains in the MCU were lacking. So, it's nice to see a really, really smart, really well done villain in Zemo, and not to mention his reasons for doing all of this are actually really, like, apparently his wife was also killed in one of the Avengers' fights. I think it was the Sokovia one. We hear throughout the entire thing that he's apparently talking to his wife, but then we later learn that no, it's not him talking to his wife. No, she's dead. It was just a last message that he had of her. So, of course, he wanted revenge on the Avengers for what they did. You see, Zemo in the comics and in some of the cartoons is pretty much the leader of the Masters of Evil. So, they're obviously going to probably set something up sometime in Avengers 500, maybe. Whenever they get to doing that, I'm not sure. But overall, Zemo was actually a pretty well done villain. He had a presence he had a presence, and he had a backstory that he had a level. He had more layers to him than a lot of the other MCU villains, which, you know, and I'm not just saying that I like him because of that. I just liked him as a villain. I felt that his motivations as well were really good for what he was doing. And not to mention, he was probably the deepest villain we've had so far, along with Ultron. Because the thing with the other MCU villains is that they're just standard villains. They're just standard, like, monster of the week kind of villains, nothing really more. With Zemo, he may not have been powerful in strength, but his mind was his greatest strength. And I was honestly surprised. So, definitely, Baron Zemo is a pretty damn good villain. I already said that Spider-Man was awesome, but I especially loved him actually in the airport fight. I definitely really liked him in the airport fight. So let's actually talk about the airport fight in general, because this is, by God, the fight was amazing. First off, the action was so much fun, despite, you know, how depressing the actual matter was, that they were divided and what was going on and everything. They were still able to have a lot of really humorous moments. Like, Black Widow and Hawkeye were fighting, and it said, like, Black Widow's like, are we still friends? And Hawkeye's like, well, that depends on how hard you hit me. So that was, and then there was also a moment where Ant-Man gave Captain America one of those little shrinking devices that he had. You know, like, pretty much Ant-Man shrunk a truck. He threw it at War Machine, and, you know, Cap, of course, going along with this, threw the shrink bomb. So obviously, he threw it at the truck, and when the truck grew to full size again, it hit War Machine and exploded. And then Ant-Man's like, ah, shit, I thought that was a water tank. and when Ant-Man actually later on, he later turns to Giant Man, which he was trying to practice apparently. He turns to Giant Man, and there are actually two funny scenes with this. First off, Spider-Man literally just goes, holy shit! And it was hilarious seeing that. But, you know, Spider-Man in general was just, like, he was having he was having a blast mainly the entire time in that fight. Because, you know, you could tell, because not only was he going gaga for, like, every one of these heroes, it's like, oh my god, you're Captain America! It's like, holy crap, you have a metal arm? Obviously referring to the Winter Soldier. That is so cool! Yeah, and even when Ant-Man was all giant, you know, Iron Man was trying to find a way to take him down and said, okay, does anyone have any other secret powers on our side that they want to reveal now? And Spider-Man said, hey, you know, have you ever seen that movie, The Empire Strikes Back, that really old movie? It's like, Iron Man, who is this kid? I think I know what he's doing. Obviously referring to the scene in Hoth, when he was, when you know how the snow speeders, I don't know what they're actually called. I know there's like a name for the ships. I don't know what they're called, but the hull ships that the rebels wielded, the ones that had the little grapple rope. You know how they were able to spin around the AT-AT's legs and kind of just make them tip over? He references that and does it to Ant-Man, and that's really cool. So, overall, that airport scene was so much fun. It was so funny, but it also had a lot of really, really good character moments, and that was not only the highlight of the film for me, but to me, that is one of the best fights I have ever seen in a superhero movie. It is right up there with the train sequence of Spider-Man 2 and the ending to the first Avengers film. It was that damn good. And that's not even the climax either. That's not even the climax, and the climax is awesome too. You see, Baron, I keep calling him Baron. Zemo, Zemo essentially brings Captain America and the Winter Soldier to his little lair where they see all the other Winter Soldier experiments dead, and Tony comes along with them even though they're against each other, but he forms a temporary truce with them, mainly because he realizes that he was wrong and that the Winter Soldier obviously was being set up. So he decided, okay, I know what just happened. I know I have to bring him in, but you know what? I gotta help these guys because I was wrong. So I like that even though Tony is against Cap and is wanting to bring him in, and even after what he did to War Machine, granted that was also partly Vision's fault as well, which I'll get to Vision in a little bit, but what happened to War Machine, you see it in the trailers, he's knocked down. He actually suffered a drop, and now he's paralyzed. He can't use his legs anymore, so the Iron Man suit's gonna help him out because of that. But, even after all that, he still thinks Cap is a good guy, and he still wants to help him. And he realizes that he was wrong about the Winter Soldier, at least to an extent. So, he does decide to help him, until Zemo reveals that the Winter Soldier killed Tony's parents. And Tony... It's shown at the beginning of the film, but Tony never got to reconcile with his parents. He always was against his father. He always never really liked his father. He thought his father abandoned him, and we later find out that he didn't. In probably one of the best scenes in Iron Man 2, honestly. And he never really got to reconcile with his father, and he loved his mother. So of course, Tony wants revenge, and he literally. He goes berserk. He literally just goes apeshit he tries desperately to kill him. And the Captain tries to save Bucky, of course. And, it's like, Tony, you're not thinking straight. Let's just talk this out. It's like, Cap, you know what? I don't care. He just wants him dead. And, oh, God, it was heartbreaking to see that. Tony's already suffered so damn much in these films lately. It's really depressing, but I get it, ultimately, yes, the Winter Soldier doesn't die. And I actually thought that Captain America was going to die in the film, because I believe he died in the original comic, but no, he actually didn't die, which some people may or may not like, but honestly, I'm kind of glad they didn't do it, because, let's be honest here, it would have created forced drama, and we knew Captain America was going to be back for Infinity War, so we know he isn't going to be dead for long. So I'm kind of glad they didn't do it. I know some people might be split on that, but I'm not. I personally think that's actually a good idea. So yeah, at the end of the movie, pretty much, Cap's team, aka Black Panther, who joins Cap's side now and helps Cap in hiding, Black Panther, Captain America, and his team are not only freed from Ross's prison, since they were captured after the airport fight, but now they're hiding on an island, and he pretty much gives Tony a phone to call them after Tony calms down. And Tony's team, he decides to hide them from Ross for the time being, but acknowledges that, now the law is actually a thing. Yes, the Avengers are now working alongside the government, or at least Iron Man's team. As for some of the other heroes in their moments, Black Panther gets his resolution at the end when he confronts Zemo himself. But what I like is that Black Panther actually spares him. Mainly because he realizes that he suffered losses just like he has, and that... despite the fact that he so desperately wanted revenge, he now realizes that you know what, I shouldn't kill you, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to arrest you. So he does still bring him in, I believe. You know, he does still bring them in, and Zemo, I believe, survives. So that means he's probably going to set up the Masters of Evil. We don't see anything, like, any clues to that at all, but we do know, like, we know what he is in the comics, and we know the Masters of Evil are going to be a part of, not necessarily Infinity War, but most likely a part of Avengers 5 whenever they decide to come out with that. They're probably going to announce it 2 days from now, knowing how the MCU works nowadays. Anyway, so, and in terms of other moments for the other heroes, Scarlet Witch, like, okay, I didn't talk about it early in the movie, but pretty much what happens is that in the opening of the movie, the opening of the movie is where Cap is still trying to chase down that one guy from Winter Soldier. I forget what his name is, because I don't really remember him. Like, I remember him as a secondary antagonist, along with the Winter Soldier himself, and the main antagonist, like the main leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. and / Hydra, you know, who talked to Nick Fury. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry, I don't. But he was sort of a right-hand man. He was working with Hydra, and now he has this he has this new suit, and he dies really early on, which I'm surprised, because apparently he's sort of a common occurrence in the in the Marvel universe. So I'm surprised they killed him off so quickly, but I guess they didn't have much to do with him. Pretty much what happens is that when he's chasing him, he straps a bomb to himself. He pretty much tries to kamikaze Cap and a bunch of other people. Scarlet Witch tries to contain the explosion with her powers, but doesn't manage to do that. So she throws him up in the air. However, when the guy explodes, then a building explodes with a bunch of people in it, and a bunch of people died, and that's sort of a breaking point for the government and why they decided to do this. So Scarlet Witch is going through a lot of guilt, again, tying into one of the themes of the film. You know, of course, you know, she deals with this guilt, and the thing with this whole heroes match with them versus each other is that some of them may have had to be nerfed. I know some people kind of complained about Vision and Scarlet Witch being nerfed. Honestly, though, I don't think so, because the thing is that we don't really see Scarlet Witch so much fighting against the other Avengers. Okay, we do see it a little bit, but she mostly has her eyes set on Vision, who's on Iron Man's team, while she is on Cap's team. Because keep in mind, Vision is essentially a god. So Vision, really, the only thing that can stop Vision is Scarlet Witch, because she can control him with the psychic abilities, and she does. You see it in the trailers. One really cool moment when she's sort of escaping from Iron Man's little from Avengers Tower. Pretty much what she does is when Vision tries to stop her and Hawkeye, who kind of tries to get Scarlet Witch out of there, Wanda literally just freaking throws Vision downwards, like how many freaking floors, and it's so cool. It's so cool. There are a lot of other really good moments, like, I already mentioned some of them in the airport scene with Ant-Man, but I also really liked, I also really liked that there was a moment where Ant-Man is in the cell. He obviously is captured after the airport scene, so it was like, he talks to Tony Stark, and he's like, yeah, Hank Pym always told me never to trust a Stark, and Stark just is like, who are you? So that was kind of funny. So, is there any other moments that I really want to talk about? I think that's pretty much all the major moments. So, yeah, like, as you know, now, I love this movie. This is a great movie. In fact, I'm thinking about seeing it again, because it just is so damn good. So, yeah, obvious recommendation. Not that it's needed, because you're gonna see this film. Let's be honest here, you're gonna see it, but, you know, I recommend everyone, even people that don't like the MCU for some of their issues with it being too cartoony or too kiddie or whatever their issues may be, give this one a shot. You might like it more than you think. Because I know some people were turned off after Age of Ultron for some reason, even though Age of Ultron really wasn't that bad. Like, yes, it was flawed, and I know some people don't like it, and it's understandable, but give this one a try, because it is really, really damn good. And as for the Russo brothers, I am so looking forward to Infinity War, because the Russo brothers, like, 2 in a row, they've been working on. Sequels are really the only sequels that have really improved with every film. Like, the first film was pretty good, but not great. The second one was amazing, and the third one was even better than that, if that was even possible. And as for, like, the other ones, like, Iron Man came out, and that was really good, but the sequels were kind of disappointing. Guardians and Ant-Man, we don't have sequels to as of yet. Avengers 2, a lot of people were disappointed with. Personally, I really liked it, but it does have a lot of issues. Thor and Thor 2 are sort of... I liked Thor 1, but Thor 2 was very, very, very underwhelming for an MCU film. So really, the Captain America sequels, honestly, are the best ones, because they have improved from each film onwards. So, yeah. And honestly, in terms of the bad stuff with the film, I really can't think of any. Like, I never found the film cluttered. I never found it had way too many characters for its own good. I always felt that everyone got the correct amount of screen time. It's just, this is a damn good film. Like, I guess if there is one thing that I could say is that early on, some of the action scenes, particularly with Black Widow, had a lot of shaky cam. That annoyed me, but it gets better. So after, like, the first action sequence in the film kind of annoyed me in that sense, but it gets better throughout the rest of the film, so you don't have to worry about it. But really, everything else is just so damn good. Like, I can't really complain much about it, so... yeah, with that said, I'm the Steven235, signing out, and go see this film, seriously. And I know this is a spoiler video, but see it again, and again afterwards, and buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out.